Kirk, question and answer time again. What are the top 3 wins for having a guest on your podcast?
Okay, top 3 wins. Here they are. Number 1 is the rule of reciprocity. When you do something nice for somebody else, they're much more likely to do something nice for you. Mm-hmm. We have a client who we've been working with for 6 years running a podcast, and his strategy was to have CPAs and lawyers on his podcast as guests. What's funny now is that this has evolved into him running, I think, 2 or 3 master classes with 10 to 12 COIs in each of them. It's an incredible story of reciprocity. Number 2 is greater exposure. When you have somebody else on your podcast, you get access to their audience and they get access to your audience. It's a wonderful synergistic marketing tactic, and it absolutely unequivocally works. We've had some really high-end or top-tier guests on our podcast, the Top Advisor Marketing Podcast, and we find that we get bumps in listenership when that happens, both on social media and actually our podcast. So there are huge wins to be had there. If you find guests with really engaged audiences, don't necessarily have to have big audience, but engaged audiences. That's number 2. Number 3 is the endorsement of credibility. This is a really interesting little tactic, which is that when you have somebody on your podcast or have them as a guest, or even you're referring about them or talking about them in your social media, what happens here is you're giving them the listener, your listener is immediately giving trust and credibility to that person's thought leadership, because you value them enough that you're bringing them onto your show, for example. So we understand how that works. It can go both ways. So when you're a guest on somebody else's show, they give you their credibility, that instant credibility, and then vice versa. But that's how referrals have always happened. It's a little bit different now because of how they're going to check you out on social media and on the internet. Right? They want to understand, do you have a thought leadership channel and things like that? Do you get them? Do you care? All those things. Are you likable? But it really starts with that, the idea of endorsed credibility. So that's a powerful number 3. Hope those helped.
Perfect.